Originally I was planning to film this video out here, but currently we're going through this hurricane or tornado, whatever thing, kind of just rolled past our little town over here. So there's a bunch of trees down, generators are pretty much everywhere. I had to make the most of it and just come outside and get some fresh air. And I've honestly, since COVID, I've not seen this many people out on the roads. Like, even though like the stoplights are out, people are just still driving, and I mean, it's kind of hectic and all that. First things first, I wanted to say thanks so much on the last video, how much love you guys showed. I think YouTube was a little stunned that I got 10 subs in a day, because it inflated my subs to like 99, and then it went back down to 96. Currently we're sitting at 97, which is obviously 3 away. So if you haven't subbed yet, help me get to that 100. I'd really appreciate it. On top of that, the views and likes, 30 likes, it's like the most likes I've gotten on a video. So again, I appreciate that too. I'll definitely be making more like social experiments / pranks in public. Anyways, as you guys see in the title above, today's video is another story for you guys. One that I guess kind of wish never happened, but like in a way I'm kind of glad it did, because it's kind of cool to talk about now, but in the moment it was really like, I guess, terrifying. Today we're talking about the time that I got into an accident. Till today it's like the only accident I've been in, so that's the good thing. I'm just gonna roll some of the clips of, you know, after the accident, like the aftermath. Obviously you see, you know, there was a lot of damage done to the car, from the door to the hood to the other side of the car. And I think there's another clip where you see like the damage done to the, I guess, the bridge, I forget the name of it, but like the part between the sunroof and the windshield of the car. So yeah, it was definitely scary being in it, but I guess, you know, just to tell the whole story and kind of put it out there, because a lot of people usually ask, because I have a picture on my Instagram of, you know, the car flipped over. Like, I've been recording this video for the past 20 minutes and this guy keeps on flying over. So anyways, I put a picture on my Instagram a couple years ago. Very little of my friends today were actually, I don't want to say there when it happens, but like they were friends with me when it happened. All my friends that, you know, I met at college and further on till today usually see this and they don't believe that it was me in the car. I've told this story so many times, and from here on out, now that I'm making this video, I'm just gonna send people a link to this video. I guess let's get into the story. So the accident, actually we're coming up on the anniversary, if you could call it that, because usually the anniversaries are good things like birthdays and I guess weddings, if your marriage is going good. In a week it'll be 3 years. I think it was the 13th or the 12th of August 2017. So if we go back to the end of June of 2017, I was fresh out of high school. I was actually graduating, and the next day I had my driver's test, which I passed first try. And my parents and I, you know, came to the agreement that I needed a car because I'd be going away to college. I already had my job, and so the quest began to look for a car. Personally, as someone that likes cars, I really wasn't going to take whatever car I'd get. I really didn't want like a hoopty or a beater, something that I could, you know, I guess show off to my friends. My parents asked around, I started looking, and one of my dad's friends got back to him about a car that he had personally used for a couple of years. He got a lease on a new car, so he didn't want that car anymore, and he was giving it to us. All we had to do was take it off his lot and put whatever parts we needed in it. So we did just that, picked up the car, brought it to our mechanic here. Within 2 weeks, we had gotten the parts to the guy, he had returned the car, and we're talking about the first week to 2 weeks of July. So finally I had the experience of being, I guess, more independent from my parents, not having to depend on their schedules, on their money, when they could pick me up, bring me to work. I was given that feeling of, you know, true independence aside from living with them. I was able to experience that for about a month till obviously the accident happened. Fast forwarding to the day of the accident, I was obviously at work. You guys could see the video up here of me working at the supermarket if you haven't seen it yet. And I was at the register since I was pretty new, and my mom would always send me texts on what to get from the store since I was already there to just pick it up and bring it home. She sent me a text and she told me to take out the dog and a couple of other things since she wouldn't be home for a little while. So I picked up the stuff, put the dog out to pee, and I decided to clean out my car, and after that I was gonna go to the bank to deposit my check. Going on the way to the bank, I pulled onto this one road that it's like a steep hill, which I'll play the footage for right now. And if you look all the way down the hill, you don't see an intersection that's there at first, but as the road kind of bends to the left, you see the intersection. Since I cleaned my car and I'd left the bag in the back and all the windows were open, to avoid stopping and being annoyed by the sound of the bag just flying around consistently, I assumed that the bend in the road was further down and it was actually closer than I thought. I turned around quickly, well, not quick enough, but I turned around, grabbed stuff from the back seat, and I turned back around to hear my front passenger side getting hit and my like front of the car up in the air, and the car hit a boulder on the side of the road, which I guess belongs to some guy. Car kind of flipped on its side on the doors, and I believe that accidents are like one of those things you really can't prepare for. They could happen in so many different ways at so many different points, and it could involve X amount of cars. I didn't know if the car was gonna land back on its tires or what. Car landed on its side, started sliding down the hill, and that's why you saw in one of those clips that the doors were kind of like scraped off. So I'm literally like holding onto the steering wheel and keeping my head from going out the side window. I just thought like, hey, when this car stops, I'll just hop out, push it back over, and continue driving it. Tell my parents I hit a tree or something. As soon as that idea went in my head, it went straight out because the car now flipped 100% over. Like the roof was where the tires should be. And yeah, at this point, I was like, my parents are gonna kill me. It hasn't even been a month that I've been driving this car. Luckily, before I had gone down this hill, I put on sunglasses, and obviously the windshield broke, so specks of glass were just flying at me, and I was able to, I guess, see where I was going. And that's another fear that I had, that someone could have been coming up the hill walking, because a lot of people run on this hill. We're driving and they wouldn't have been able to react to, you know, which way I was gonna turn. Eventually the car stopped at some point, and like I said, since I was like in such shock and disbelief that this was happening to me, I kind of just stayed in the car for a second, like not knowing what to do. I felt like, you know, I was in a movie or I was dreaming or something like that. What snapped me out of that trance of like not knowing what to do, and I guess daydreaming in a sense, is the fact that the weight from the bottom of the car that was now on the top sounded like it was crushing the inside of the car. If like the bottom of the car came down, it would have ended up crushing me, and then for sure it would have been, I guess, clipped for me. There's a lady there, she had, I guess, heard everything. She lived in one of the houses nearby. As I was pulling myself out, she dragged it by saying like the car was gonna catch on fire. She smelled gas. I got out, she let me use her phone. I called my mom, she didn't answer. I called my dad, he didn't answer for the first couple times, but he was on his way home. And in the meanwhile that my dad showed up, the cop showed up. First thing they did was ask me if I was on anything. Obviously it probably looked like I was because I was so shook, and there's a car flipped in the middle of the road, which is kind of hard to do. Shortly after my dad showed up, the tow man came. The biggest blow to all of it was that me thinking that I could still fix the car. The way they flip the car is like, they don't flip it back on the side that it was like scraped up on. So if I had to replace doors, it would have just been those two doors. They literally flipped the car over on the other side, so it busted the other set of windows, it busted the other doors, it busted the other mirror. At that point, I was just like holding an L. I didn't know when the next time I was gonna get a car was. So yeah, that's the story. Luckily, the most important thing was I didn't really come out with any injuries. All that happened was I banged my knee when the car flipped over into the steering wheel, so it was bruised for a couple days, and I had some of they weren't embedded, but they left some little marks on like the side of my eyes and a little bit of my face, the glass shards. I mean, my insurance went up, which is still kind of impacting me till today. Aside from all that, the experience was interesting. I definitely wouldn't recommend it to anyone. I hope it hasn't happened to any of you, but if it has, definitely feel free to comment your story, comment how many accidents you've been in, comment if you think this accident wasn't even that bad. I know a lot of my friends were like, you're the worst driver ever after this happened. A lot of friends were terrified of getting into the car with me. I was driven around a lot of places because I didn't have a car, obviously. But anyways, that's the whole story. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, sorry for the wind doing what it does in all my videos, which is just ruining the audio. I hope you guys didn't mind this view so much. It's such a nice day out as opposed to what it was looking like yesterday. Once again, I'm 3 away from 100. I'd really appreciate getting there sometime soon. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. And yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.